Hello guys, welcome back to Rest Academy, where we make classrooms, complex classroom style very simple so that every student can rest. In today's video, we're going to look at linear equations. So when you look at our previous videos, I've been building blocks. I've been giving you building blocks for us to get to linear equations. So I taught you how to expand brackets, and I taught you how to change subjects, because all of them are very profound fundamentals in solving any equation, not just linear equations, any equations at all. But I'm going to start with linear equations today. So get tuned, don't forget to like the video, share, and then subscribe to the channel. So straightforward. So linear equations are equations with its highest power to be 1, right? So the highest power of the variable is 1. For an example, we have something like 2x minus 5 is equal to 13. So x here has a power of 1, and that is the highest power in the equation. So it is called a linear equation. In an equation where the highest power of x is 2, it's called a quadratic equation. So for an example, when you have something like because the highest power of x here is 2, it's called a quadratic equation. If the x power is 3, it's called a cubic equation, and so on. So we're going to deal with linear equations for the start. We're going to look at the rest in the future. So let's take this question. 2x minus 5 is equal to 13. So when you have a question like this, how do you solve it? So when you have a question like this, you're going to be asked to find the value of x, or calculate for the value of x. And when you have to calculate for the value of x, it means that you have to make x the subject of the equation. So when you make x the subject of the equation, any answer you get on the other side of the equation is the value of x. That's why I taught you change of subject. So we are going to make sure x stands alone, right? So we pass every other value to the other side of the equal sign. So we pass negative 5 to the other side. So when negative 5 passes, it becomes positive, right? So you simplify this, you get 13 plus 5 is 18, right? So still, x is not standing alone. X is paired with 2. So what you do is that you divide both sides of the equations by 2. I hope you remember. If you've forgotten, please look up for the video on change of subjects. I'm going to leave the link in the description. So just in case you didn't watch that video and you're confused, you can look up to how to change subjects, and then you're going to make it easier with yourself. So we divide both sides by 2 here. So 2 cancels 2. So x is equal to 18 divided by 2 is what? 9. So this gives us the value of x to be equal to 9. Right? A very simple one. So I'm going to leave more examples. I'm going to leave a file, right, in the description, which is going to give you more examples to try your hands on. So let's look at a different circumstance or a different type of questions you can find. So you can find questions which have fractions in them, right? So let's say you have a question like this. Divides 4. So when you have a question like this, so just like I taught you in change of subjects, when you have questions involving fractions, first you find the LCM of all the denominators. So on the left side, the denominator is 4. On the right side, the denominator is 1. So you know that every number is the same as over 1. So the LCM here is what? 4. So you multiply every term in the equation by 4, right? So you multiply this term by 4, and we multiply this also by what? 4. So we know that 4 can cancel 4 out here. So we have 3x plus 2 is equal to So here, this is over 1. So top times top, down times down, right? So 5 times 4 is what? 20. 1 times 1 is 1. So you don't need to write it. So now here we have gotten to a simple equation. So we have to make x stand alone, right? So we put 2 to the other side of the equation. So we have 3x is equal to 20. So when 2 crosses, it becomes negative. So minus 2. So we have 3x to be equal to 20 minus 2 is what? 18. Okay, I'm going to continue. So I'm going to continue the solution over here. Right? So 3x is equal to 18. So it means we divide both sides by 3, right? So we have 3x is equal to 18. So we divide here by 3, divide here by 3. So 3 cancels 3. So x is equal to 18 over 3 is equal to what? 6. And that is the value of x. So now let's move on to a different type of example. That's an example involving brackets, right? So for example, if you have something like 5x minus 2 plus x is equal to 2. So whenever you have an equation involving brackets, the first thing to do is to expand the bracket if possible, right? So we're going to expand this bracket. So remember how I taught you to expand brackets. If you don't remember that too, I'm going to leave a link to that in the video description. So we're going to expand this bracket. So 5 is going to multiply everything in the bracket, right? So 5 times x is what? 5x. 5 times negative 2 will give us what? Negative 10. So we continue writing the equation. So now we group like terms, right? So we bring all x to the one side and every other thing to the other side. So we have 5x plus x is equal to 2. So when 10 crosses the equal sign, it becomes what? Negative 10 crosses becomes positive 10, right? So 5x plus x will give us 6x, which is equal to 12. So here too, you divide both sides by 6 as usual, by 6. And now we have, so 6 cancels 6. So now x is equal to what? 12 divided by 6 will give us what? 2. And that becomes the value of x. So let's dive more into more complex questions. So you can also have a question where you have variables on all two sides. So for the start, let's look at this question. 4x plus 3 is equal to 2x plus 9. So you have variables on both sides. So whenever you see something like this, the first thing to do is to group like terms. Make sure that all values of x are on one side, preferably the left, and then all other values are on the right side. So it means that they're going to bring 2x to the left side, right? So you're going to have something like 4x. So when 2x comes to the left, it becomes negative 2x, right? Minus 2x. So we are taking 3 also to the right side. So we have 9 there. So when 3 crosses the equal sign, it becomes what? Negative 3. So now we simplify. So 4x minus 2x will give us 2x. So 9 minus 3 is going to give us what? 6. So as usual, I divide both sides by 2. Then you have the value of x to be what? 2 cancels 2. 6 divided by 2 is going to give us what? 3. And that becomes the value of x. Okay, so we are going to try different. So this exam, I'm giving you like types or instances, right? All the types you can find. I'm going to leave more questions I'm going to leave a link to more questions in the description. You can download and try your hands on it, right? Okay. So another instance is when you find brackets, but the question is that we have variables on both sides. It's not always going to be x. Sometimes it can be y, it can be a, it can be b, whatever it is. So let's try y, right? So So 5y minus 2, 3y minus 4 is equal to 3y plus 6. So one thing you're supposed to note is that you have a bracket, so you have to expand the bracket. Take note, negative 2 is multiplying everything in the bracket. Positive 5y is not multiplying the things in the bracket. If this was also supposed to be in the bracket, then we know that everything here is multiplying everything here. But that is not the case. It is not in the bracket. It means only negative 2 is multiplying what is in the bracket. So you have to expand the bracket. So you're expanding this bracket and this bracket too. So 5y. So negative 2 is multiplying everything here. So negative 2 times 3y give us what? Negative 6y. Negative 2 times negative 4 give us what? Positive 8. So 3 multiplied by y will give us what? 3y. And 3 multiplied by 6 will give us what? 18. You get it? So now we group like terms. We bring all the values of y on one side and we put all other values on the other side. So we are bringing the 3y to the left and we move 8 to what? To the right. So we bring 3y here and we move 8 there, right? So let's continue. So we're going to have something like 5y minus 6y. So when positive y crosses the equal sign, it becomes what? Negative 3y is equal to, we have 18 already. So when 8 crosses the equal sign, it becomes what? Negative 8. You get it? Negative 8. Alright, so this is what we have. Let me clean the top and continue there. Okay, so this is what we have, right? So we are simplifying the equation. So we have so 5y minus 6y is what will give us negative y, right? Negative y minus 3y will give us negative 4y. So if you don't understand, when you are adding these, because they all have the same variables, they are like terms, right? So you can just add the coefficient and after that you attach the x to it. Yeah, so 5 minus 6 will give us negative 1 and the negative 1 minus 3 will give us what? Negative 4. So negative 4 and then you just attach the y to it, right? So 18 minus 8 will give us 10, right? So y is still not standing alone. So what we do is that we divide both sides by the coefficient of y, which is here negative 4. So we divide here by negative 4 and negative 4. So let's continue on the equation here. So negative will cancel negative, 4 cancels 4. So 10 divided by 4, so y is equal to what? So you can simplify this with 2, right? So 4 divided by 2 give us 2, and then 10 divided by 2 give us what? 5. So we're going to have 5 divided by negative 2. But when you have an equation like this, it's the same as negative 5 over 2. When it's a fraction, the negative affects all the fraction, not just the denominator. So you can put it on the top. So you're going to have y is equal to negative 5 over 2. And that becomes the answer for y. So guys, don't forget, if you have any question, you can leave it in the comment section and I'll attend to you. Okay guys, let's continue to a different type of question too. So we have a question like 3x plus 2 over 4 is equal to 5x divided by 2. So we have now had fractions on both sides, right? So as I told you, so when you have a question like this where the fraction on both sides, you have only one fraction, like this is one fraction, this is another fraction, right? This is the only one you have. There is a way you can solve it. So you have only one fraction on both sides of the equation. There's a way that can be solved, right? But that is limited to only having two fractions, like one fraction on the left, another fraction on the right. That is when you can reuse this. So it's called cross multiplication. Cross multiplication. So in cross multiplication, you multiply like cross. So you're going to have 2 multiplying everything here. So 3x plus 2. And now you bring your equal to. And we have 4 multiplying 5x. So you can expand this bracket. So 2 times 3x will give us 6x. 2 times 2 is what? 4. 4 times 5x will give us 20x. So from here we group like terms. You bring all x on one side and everything else on the other side, right? So we have 6x here. So we bring 20 here, it becomes minus. So minus 20x is equal to, when 4 crosses, becomes negative 4. Let me clean the top. Okay. So here when you add, so 6 minus 20 is going to give us what? Minus 14x, which is equal to what? Negative 4. So as I said, x must stand alone. So we divide both sides by the coefficient of x, which here is what? Negative 14. So negative cancels negative, 14 cancels 14. So x is equal to, so this negative cancels this. And then 4 divided by 14 is going to be what? So 2 can cancel throughout. So 4 divided by 2 will give us what? 2. 14 divided by 2 will give us what? 7. Which is given us 2 over 7 as our final answer. Right? Yeah, so that's it. Very simple to solve this question. So let's move on to a quite more complex question, which you can't solve with the cross multiplication, right? So let me teach you the other method also. So let's say the same question, 3x plus 2 on 4 is equal to 5x over 2. I always tell students to master this one. That's the use of the LCM. So I taught you that whenever you have a fraction in an equation, check for the LCM of all the denominators. So you have 2 denominators, 4 and 2. So what's the LCM of 4 and 2? So we can take 4, right? So you multiply each term by the LCM, which is 4. So LCM is equal to 4. So I'm going to multiply each term by 4, right? So we multiply this side by 4. We multiply this side by 4. Right? So 4 can cancel 4 here. So we have 3x plus 2 is equal to. So 2 goes into itself 1. It goes into 4 twice. Right? So we have, okay, let me write it 2 here. Yes, so we now have 5x times 2. Right, so we have 3x plus 2 is equal to what? 10x. So now we group x, we put all x on one side. Right, so we have, okay, let me clean the top. We put all x on one side. So yeah, we're going to have 3x. So we bring 10x to this side. So we have negative 10x is equal to, we send 2 to the other side, becomes negative 2. Right, so 3x minus 10x will give us minus 7x, which is equal to minus what? 2. So we divide both sides by the coefficient of x, which is negative 7. Negative 7. And then we are going to have 7 cancels 7, negative cancels negative. So this negative will cancel this, and we have x is equal to 2 over 7, which is the same answer as we got before. But as I told you, the cross multiplication method only works when you have only 2 fractions. That's one fraction on the left and another fraction on the right. That is the only time you can use the cross multiplication method, right? Yeah, so let's move on to a more complex question. So you have a question here: 13x over 5 is equal to 5x over 2 plus 13. So in a question like this, because we don't have only the two fractions, because we have this fraction, and another value here, we can't use the cross multiplication method. If you want to use the cross multiplication, it means you have to solve this side and then before you can use, which is going to be a long thing to do, which I don't like to do. So we are going to use the LCM method. So you know that 13 is over 1. So we now have the denominators 5, 2, and 1. So we are going to look for the LCM. So the LCM of 5, 2, and 1 is going to be what? 10. So simply, if you don't know how to find the LCM, you can multiply all the denominators. So 5 times 2 is what? 10. 10 times 1 is what? 10. Yeah, so you can multiply. So you are going to multiply each term by the LCM, which is 10. So you are going to multiply this by 10. So you have 10 times 13x over 5 is equal to 10 times 5x on 2 plus 10 times 13. 13 over 1 is still 13. So yes, so 5 will go here 1 into 10 twice. 2 goes into itself, 1 goes into 10 how many times? 5. So you're going to have 2 times 13, which is 26. So you have 26x equal to 5 times 5x, so that's 25x plus 10 times 13 is 130. So let me clean the top once again. $130. So we are going to group like terms. So make sure all values of x are on one side, preferably the left. You can put it on the right, but by convention we always put it on the left. So 26x here. So you move 25x to the right side, left side, so it becomes negative 25x, and then equal to 130. So 26x minus 25x will give us what? X. So x is equal to what? 130. And that becomes our answer. So in this, you can't use the cross multiplication. You're going to get a wrong answer. So we're going to use the LCM method. So you can apply the LCM method anytime there is a fraction. But if there is only two fractions and you want a shortcut, you can use the cross multiplication method. But beware, you can only use the cross multiplication when you have only two fractions. Okay, so let's look at another example which is quite a little complex. So this one, you have fractions. So 2x plus 1 over 3 minus x minus 4 over 2 is equal to 5x plus 3 over 6. So again, you see that we have more than two fractions, which means we can't use a cross multiplication. So you have to find the LCM. So when you see a question, don't be scared, right? Just follow the procedure you know. So you find the LCM of the three numbers. So 3, 2, 6. You can have more fractions than this, right? But all of them, when you follow the procedure, are going to get the right answer. So the LCM of 3, 2, and 6 can be what? 6. 3 times 2 is 6. 2. So 6 divided by 3 will give us 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 6 divided by 6 is 1. So it means all these values can divide 6 without a remainder. So 6 can be the LCM. You can also choose to multiply all the three values. If you don't want to think about the LCM, you can multiply everything and still you get the right answer. Just like you get some big values, you have to simplify, but you're going to still get the correct answer. So we are going to use 6 as our LCM. So you multiply every term by 6. So we have 6 times 2x 5x plus 3 over 2 minus 6 times x minus 4 over 2, which is equal to 6 times 5x plus 3 over 6. So don't worry about it. When sometimes I bring the times and others I don't bring it. So I said that whenever you see a value here, two values, and then the only thing separating them is a bracket, it means they are multiplying, right? So let me again clean the top so we can work there. Okay, so here you can see that 2 goes into itself, 1 goes into 6 3 times, right? Sorry, it's supposed to be 3. Sorry. So 3 goes into itself, 1 it goes into 6 2. 2 goes here, 1 3 times. 6 can cancel 6. So we now have a different equation. You have 2 times 2x plus 3 minus 3 times x minus 4, which is equal to 5x minus 13. Sorry. So this is what we are trying to solve over here. So again, we have brackets, so it means we have to expand the brackets. So 2 multiplies everything here, negative 3 multiplies everything here, right? So 2 times 2x will give us 4x. 2 times 3 will give us what? 6. So negative 3 times x will give us what? Negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 4 will give us what? Positive 12. So we go to what's on the right side, 5x minus 13. So again, we bring all x on one side, the left, and we put every other thing on the right. So 4x, so we are writing only the things that contains x, minus 3x. So positive 5 crosses the equal sign, so becomes what? Negative 5x is equal to negative 13. So 6 crosses the equal sign, it becomes what? Negative 6. 12 crosses the equal sign, becomes what? Negative 12. So we simplify. So 4x minus 3x is what? X. X minus 5x will give us what? 4x. So again, I said if they all have the same variable, they are called like terms. So you can just add the coefficients or subtract. You just add the what? The x to it. So you can use your calculator to enter 4 minus 3 minus 5. We're going to get what? Negative 4, and then you just attach the x to it. So it's equal to negative 13 minus 6 give us negative what? 19, and then negative 19 minus 12 will give us what? Negative 31, right? So minus 31. Yeah, so simple. So you've gotten to the point again. So we divide both sides by the coefficient of x, which is negative 4. Here by negative 4. Negative cancels negative, 4 cancels 4. Negative cancels negative. 31 divided by 4 can't be simplified. So now x is equal to what? 31 over 4. And that becomes our final answer. You can decide to change it into what? A mixed fraction, and that will work. But in this case, I'm going to leave the answer like this. And that's it. So guys, that is almost every type of linear equation you're going to meet, especially those of you preparing for the WASSCE. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share with your friends. So I'm going to drop the links I've talked about in the description. You can check out and try your hands on more questions, and then see. If you have any question, you can drop it in the comment section, or if you have a challenge with any topic you want me to teach, you can just type the topic there. I'm going to make a video about it. So see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.